Okay, welcome back to day 2 of the Shred program. This is the first day that we're going to be doing a yoga flow. For any of you yogis out there who practice yoga maybe all the time, this isn't going to be a typical yoga class where there's a warm-up and a peak pose and shavasana and an hour-long meditation. It's not going to be like that. I'm going to make all the flows under 20 minutes, and hopefully something that you can do even if you don't have a mat. And maybe some little flows that you can memorize and use whenever you need them. So today we're going to be focusing on the lower body. We focused a lot yesterday with Dr. Mark on a lot of lower body glue, some balancing stuff, some knee stabilizing. So we're going to do the same thing with yoga today. One thing I do want to mention is we are going to do some sun salutations just to kind of get ourselves warmed up. It's really common in yoga. Whenever we do the sun salutations, it's really important that we hug our elbows in as we go down for the CHATURANGA, and then using our triceps as we push up upper back strength as we go into low cobra or upward facing dog. But I'll show you all those moves as we go through it. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to start in the front of the mat, standing with our feet together. And we're going to just engage our legs here, squeezing our glutes, sitting up nice and tall, engaging your core, and your hands are going to be facing the front. So really just imagine someone's pulling you from the crown of your head and you're standing tall with engagement. Beautiful. Mountain pose here to start. And we're just going to go through a couple of sun salutations to get ourselves warmed up. So let's go ahead, taking a big inhale with your arms all the way up overhead. And then we're going to exhale as we fold, hinge in the hips. Always keep a small bend in the knees to protect your low back and your hamstrings. Folding all the way down, releasing here with an exhale. And then we're going to inhale, bringing your hands on your shins, trying to make yourself have a flat back. And then exhale, fold. Place your hands on the ground. We're going to step the left leg back into a lunge, getting our chest nice and proud here with a quick little inhale. And then exhale, taking that right foot back into a downward dog. So in a downward dog, really quick, your feet want to be shoulder width apart. Your hands want to be shoulder width apart. Your fingers are spread nice and wide, and you're pressing the ground away, but relaxing your shoulders and keeping a little bend in your knees here. Beautiful. And then we're just going to shift our weight forward into a high plank position, stacking your shoulders over your wrists, completely engaging your legs. And you can either drop your knees here or stand on your toes. Again, hug your elbows in like I mentioned. As you slowly lower chaturanga, exhale, and then inhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together up into a low cobra. And then exhale, going onto your knees, tucking your toes, pressing back, downward dog. Breathe here for a moment. If it seems like we're going fast, it's just because it's new. All right, we're going to take that left leg in between the hands. So I want to practice this from the beginning. Come up to your tippy toes of your right foot. Bend the left knee. Try to get your left knee to your nose. Knee to nose, core tight. Place that foot between your hands. And that takes a ton of practice. So keep trying for it every single time, and you will be able to get it. That's a lot of mobility in the hips. Breathing here into this lunge on the left side, chest proud. And then we're going to exhale as we step the back foot forward and fold. Good. Inhale, flat back, hands on your shins. Exhale, fold. Beautiful. And inhale, hinge at the hips, swoop your arms all the way up, overhead. And exhale, hands at heart center, Samvasiti. Beautiful. So we did that on one side. Even though we got both lunges in on one side, we're going to do the other side as well, just so we get plenty of practice. So feet together, nice and strong. Big inhale all the way up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, keep that small bend in your knees, fold forward, let yourself hang. On your next inhale, flat back, hands on the shins. Exhale, fold. Place your hands on the ground, so bend your knees as much as you need to, and then we're gonna step the right leg back into that lunge. Breathe here for a moment, opening up that hip. And place your hands on the ground, hinge your hips back, sending that left leg back into our downward dog. Again, feet hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart, pressing the ground away, ears between your shoulders, hips up to the ceilings. Breathe. Beautiful. From here, we're going to shift our weight forward into that high plank position, core tight. Engage your arms by pressing the ground away, engaging your legs and your core, and you can either lower your knees here or hug your elbows in, shift your weight forward, and slowly lower chaturanga. Flip your feet to the top of the mat, and then inhale, upward facing dog. We're really pressing through with our triceps and using our upper back strength to pull our shoulders back. And we're just looking forward, not up, not down, just straight ahead, and engaging your legs. Beautiful. Exhale, downward dog. Breathe. And we're going to do the same thing with the other side. So come up to your tippy toes of your left foot. Bend your right knee as you shift your weight forward, core tight. Bring your knee to your nose, and place that foot between your hands. Breathing. You might notice that we're getting a little warm. And then on our next exhale, we're going to step that back foot front and fold. Beautiful. Breathe here for a second, just hanging, chilling. And then inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. And then last time, hinging at the hips, swoop the arms all the way up with an inhale. And exhale, hands to heart center, samasthiti. Beautiful. So we should be pretty warm by now. We're going to go ahead and going back into our lunge, we're going to do more with the quads, the glutes, and the hamstrings. So let's go ahead, big inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, small bend in the knees, fold forward, place your hands onto the ground. So bend your knees as much as you need to get there. And then send that left leg back into that lunge position. Opening up that left hip a little bit. And while we're here, let's go ahead and just drop the back knee as we slowly walk our hands back, straightening out that front leg, trying to bring your toes to your shins. And breathe. Always try to lead with your chest. Beautiful. Really getting a good stretch in our calves, our hamstrings. And slowly walking back into that lunge, bringing up the back leg. Beautiful. Now we're going to go ahead and drop that left heel down to the ground. And then we're going to windmill our arms up into a warrior two. So in warrior two, we really want to make sure that you can see your big toe of the front foot. So we're keeping a bend in that right knee. Make sure that your knee goes out and forward so we can make eye contact with that big toe. And then this back hip is kind of opening up, and so your back foot is toes and heels to the sides of the mat. And then your arms are going to be extended all the way out. And imagine someone's pulling you from either side. So it's not just you're engaging while we're here. And breathe. We're just going to hold this one for a moment. Always breathing. Good. Beautiful. Keep it up. Keep that bend in that front knee. Make sure you can still see eye contact with that toe. Breathe. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Go ahead, start to straighten out that front leg. So now both of our legs are straight in the same position. Okay, beautiful. Keeping the arms out, we're gonna hinge forward, reach, 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 really feeling it, stretching out that hamstring on the right side, a little bit of adductors and hips. As we reach forward, just release your right hand down to your shin and left hand up to the ceiling. Extended, intense side stretch. If it's possible, you can always bring your hand down to the ground, but in yoga, never force yourself to get anywhere. Right here is fine. Good. And to come out of this one, just start to bend into that front knee as we bring our hands back to parallel with the ground. Beautiful. Let's go ahead, windmill the arms into that lunge over that right foot. And then send ourselves back into a downward dog. So remember, feet hip width apart, arms shoulder width apart, pressing the ground away, wide fingers, ears between, arms, bending your knees, hips up to the ceiling. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So let's go ahead and practice using that control. So tippy toes on both the legs, bend that left knee, core tight, knee to nose, place that left foot in between the hands. Beautiful. Just staying here for a moment. Breathing. Good. You can rock back and forth a little bit. Beautiful. And go ahead. We're going to drop the back knee down to the ground as we slowly walk our hands back. Same thing we did on the other side. And we're leading with our chest to our toes, trying to get our toes to our shin. And if we need to be up here, or if we need to hold on to something, totally fine. We're just trying to get a little stretch in those calves and hamstrings. And breathe. Always breathe. Beautiful. Slowly start to walk your hands forward back into that lunge, bringing that back knee up. And just like we did on the other side, we're going to drop that back heel down to the ground as we windmill our arms up into that warrior two. And again, making sure that you can see that eye contact with your big toe. So looking at that big toe, that front leg goes out and forward a little bit more. Left leg is in front. Right leg, making sure your toe and your heel are facing the sides of the mat, perpendicular from each other. And again, arms out, extended, and imagine someone's pulling you from either side. But we're not up here, we're here. Relax your shoulders down. And we're just gonna breathe, allowing that right hip to kind of open up just a little bit, but keeping that left also open towards the left and upper part of the mat. And breathe. And in yoga, we never just sit into anything. So imagine you're kind of pressing the ground away, always engaged. A little bit longer here. Good for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Start to straighten out that front leg, getting a little bit of relief. And just like we did on the other side, we're going to hinge. We're kind of tilting at the hips here. And then we're going to reach forward. Reach, 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 reach. And just windmill your arms. So left leg down to the shin, right leg up to the ceiling. Intense side stretch. Again, if you have the flexibility, you're always welcome to head down to the ground, but I suggest staying on that shin because it's all new. And breathe. Beautiful. And again, we're not dumping weight into our shin here. We're still engaging the upper body. And to come out, just start bending into that front leg, coming back into our warrior two. Nice, making sure you can make eye contact. And windmill your arms back down to the ground into that lunge position. And then pressing back into our downward dog. Beautiful. From here, we're just gonna slowly walk our feet to our hands. So bend your knees as much as you need to be with hands and feet on the ground into that forward fold. You can grab each elbow here and just let your head hang for a moment. Breathe. Beautiful. And we're just going to slowly come up one vertebrae at a time with bent knees. Head all the way up at the top. From here, we're going to stretch out our glutes a little bit, but we're also going to have a little bit of strength with it involved as well, because we're going to be standing, balancing on one leg. So shift your weight over to the left side, keep a little bend in that left leg, and then we're going to bring the right leg up and placing the right heel over that left knee. And maybe just staying here. If you have any knee pain here, it's from a lack of hip mobility. So because there's a whole chain going on here, our knees can only bend. They don't bend side to side, but our hips do. So if you're lacking in hip mobility, you're going to have knee pain, but that's for a whole other video. So go ahead, sit your hips back if you can into a chair, finding a spot on the ground that doesn't move to keep your balance. Really feeling a stretch in the glute of the leg that's up. Breathe. And if this is enough for you, just stay here. If you want a little more, you can hinge at the hips, trying to bring your hands down to the ground. Still sitting in that chair. And breathe. Beautiful. If you came down to the ground, steady yourself, coming back up. Perfect. And then slowly start to straighten out that leg as we stand up, but keep the right leg where it is. And then bringing it out in front of you in an opposite L position. And then dropping that right leg down to the ground. And shake it out. Whew. All right, same thing on the other side. So keep a little bend in both knees. And then we're going to shift our weight over to the right side as we control that left leg up and over in that 4 position. So left heel over the right thigh. Taking a breather here and maybe just staying here. If this hurts your knee, again, don't go any further. If this feels comfortable, then we could always sit down into that squat, into that chair. Really feeling a good stretch in that glute here while activating the other. Sorry, I can't make eye contact with you guys. I'm focused on the ground. And if this feels comfortable for you, just like last time, we can hinge at the hips, bringing our hands down to the ground, getting a little extra, but making sure you're still seated in the chair. So don't straighten out that standing leg, keep it bent. And breathe. Good. Making sure that knee is going down towards the ground a little bit. And then slowly, if you came down, hinging back up into that chair. And then slowly straightening out that standing leg, keeping it here for a moment. And to release with control, bringing that left knee up so your leg is in that little L position. And then slowly bringing that leg back down to the ground. Beautiful. Shaking it out a little bit. And we're just going to hinge at the hips, small bend in the knees, fold forward again. We can grab each elbow again. Really feeling everything we just did to the glutes and the hips and the hamstrings. Breathing here. Beautiful. And you can bend your knees as much as you need to get your fingertips to the ground. And then you can just play with straightening out one leg, bending into the other. And it doesn't have to be all the way straight. You can just do those little movements, seeing how your glutes, your hammies feel. Always keeping a neutral bend in the knees to save your low back. Beautiful. From here, with our hands on the ground and our bent knees, We're gonna come bringing our heels, or excuse me, our sit bones to our heels. And then we're going to come up as high as we can on our tippy toes, and then just bow our head to our knees. Good. And coming back down into our standing fold. And we're just gonna go back and forth between those two. Notice how I always keep a bend here. Can't say that enough, huh? And go ahead, bending at your knees, bringing your hips to your heels, coming up high onto your tippy toes, bow your head. Breathe. And let's go again, straightening out, forward fold. And last time, hinging at the knees, bringing our hips down to our heels, high up on our tippy toes, and bow your head. Beautiful. Bringing your heels back down to the ground, straighten into that forward fold for the last time. And then hinging at the hips all the way up. Inhale your hands overhead, and then exhale, hands to heart center, Samasthiti. Beautiful. That's it for you guys. Okay, that was it for day number 2, yoga day number 1. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, feel free to let us know in the comment section, I guess. And we will see you tomorrow for day number 3, which will be day number 2 of strength training. Okay, bye guys.